Good morning, pickers and grinners. Welcome to the FretJob. The FretJob is a live video podcast where we dig into the bones of the guitar world, and our discussions touch on pretty much anything with strings, anything that has to do with music. I'm going to, the FretJob is brought to you live from Frizzell Guitars at 816 Stanford Road, Danville, Kentucky, Kentucky's premier guitar store and full service luthier shop. Now, I'm going to hand it over to my friend and co-host, the owner and professional luthier at Frizzell Guitars, Brandon Edwards. Good morning, Brandon.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the FretJob. My name is Brandonimo Edwards. No, my name is Brandon Edwards. I gotta try to be a little funny on this Debbie Downer morning, and so welcome, 816 Stanford Road, Frizzell Guitars. This is my co-host Jonathan McCorder. All things real estate, all things ukulele, all things guitar, acoustic guitar aficionado, bluegrass aficionado, whatever you want to call it, harmonica aficionado.
Good enough.
And if you need any real estate, go see him. He'll give you that information later.
I will do that.
All right. Let's kick this thing off. First, let's just kick today off with a little bit of a welcome everybody to the FretJob. Sorry we weren't here last week. We had some things come up, so
we got some stuff to talk about this morning. We got something big. I know Frizzell Guitars has something big going on this weekend. On Black Friday, which is this coming Friday, and Small Business Saturday as well. Santa will be at Frizzell Guitars, and you can go down there and get your picture taken with him, and let Brandon tell you. I'll let him tell you the details on it.
All right. So first detail is be looking for this afternoon. The drop of our Black Friday sale ad is going to be dropping this afternoon. And Santa Claus and Santa's helpers will be here from 12:30 to 2, or 11:30 to 2, Friday and Saturday.
11:30 to 2, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday.
And you can bring your kids to visit Santa. It doesn't cost nothing to come visit Santa, but if you would like a photo with Santa, it's going to be $15. We refrain from you not to be taking photos on your phone, that if you would, you can pay $15, and there'll be a professional photographer.
Cool. So professional photos with Santa, $15. Yeah, Black Friday, that's going to be hopefully a busy day for Frizzell Guitars.
And it's also another busy day because that's when Brad Harden makes, he has a full band debuted up at the Nook. So he's sold out show. Him and Damian Spiegel are going to be at the Nook Black Friday night.
Cool. So go get your picture taken with Santa at Frizzell Guitars, and then you said that was Friday night?
Yep.
Friday. What about you talking about Brad Friday night?
Yeah, and they may
Friday
have a
night,
few.
go to the Nook.
They may have a few tickets at the door. I don't know yet, but as of now, it's all sold out completely.
Sold out Brad Harden show at the Nook on Friday night. So,
they sold over 100 tickets, I think.
That's awesome, man. That's good.
Damian
for them.
Spiegel's opening.
Good for them.
If you haven't heard Damian, you tell me. I'll let you tell a little bit about Damian.
I've heard Damian, man. He is awesome, man. He is a great musician. He's young, but he is so good, man. I heard him at a little, they call it a block party down here in my community, and he really impressed me, man. So y'all don't miss a chance to see him if you get a chance. And Brad Harden as well. Everybody knows he rocks.
He's incredible, especially with the full band, man. You hear him acoustically, it's like, yeah, he's great. When you hear him with the full band, man, his vocals, his shine, his timing, his band is like so in sync with each other. It's not funny.
That's awesome, man. So our topic today, people may wonder what we're talking about, but we're talking about the tools for the job in music and guitar playing, and how different guitars lend themselves to different types of music, and we'll kind of talk about some people that are notable in music and guitar playing, and why they use the tools they use, in our opinion. So Brandon, who's your guitar player, and what's his tool?
Okay, so I give two here, and I'm not going to steal yours, but But my first one here recently, this guy here turned me on to a guy called Trey Hensley, and I've been
Yeah.
watching him every night for bed. And he's a really killer
Yeah.
butt player and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's an awesome guitar
And
player.
Jonathan turned me on to it, and I started watching, and
Yeah.
really good. And I'll tell you another like guitarist that I think his tools is like so. I like BB King, how he kind of does his thing, and
Yeah.
I like Lucille his 335, stuff.
Yeah,
So
and it's the tool for his job, man. I mean, that guitar is perfect for the style of music that he plays. And just like Trey, usually when you see Trey, he's playing a 14 fret neck joint dreadnought Martin style guitar. But I have saw him play 12 fret dreadnoughts and some smaller guitars too, but he's just a wicked fast bluegrass player, and those guitars like the D28 platform of guitars is
and
perfect
he's
for
played
bluegrass.
Gallagher guitars. And a little
Gallagher
funny
guitars.
story about Gallagher guitars is like, so the guy that I guess runs or owns Gallagher guitars, he's actually teaching acoustic guitar building at MI now, Musicians Institute, Nashville.
Wow,
Marty
cool.
still helps out, but Marty's a little bit up there in age, but Marty's also
Probably got a lot going on his bench at home.
yeah, but
Yeah. Um man, there's different guitars were made for different things. Like earlier in the steel string guitar in America, there was most guitars people don't realize they were really small back in the early 1800 or, in the 1800s, um in late 1800s actually. But they started getting bigger and bigger as time went on, and it's because they wanted to play to bigger, larger audiences, and then the style started to change, and they got into this country western type music. It took the
well,
country by storm, and it
let's talk
changed what
about
they
that since you
needed.
mentioned that country western. Let's talk about a pioneer of country western, Gene Autry, the D45.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they started to want to play for bigger audiences, and they wanted bigger sound out of their guitars. And people like Gene Autry and people that played these legendary people that played dreadnought guitars, they got more sound out of those guitars, and they were more suitable in
What
fingerboard nut width and stuff for the style of music they
What's
played.
your take on D45s?
Well, I mean, they're all, once you get to the D28, to me, they're all just higher levels of glorified, you know, abalone and stuff like that on them. I think a real high end, high quality D28 that's set up great is going to be as good as a D45.
I'll
That,
second that.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
just, they can only get so good, and then they can start getting prettier.
okay, I'll tell you one that's I think we mentioned this before. One that came on my bench here a while back. It was and quote me here if I'm wrong, but it was a D18 Andy Griffith signed signature.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Is yeah, and it had his autograph in on the thing. It had Andy Griffith inlaid in it. This guitar was, I mean, literally a dream.
yeah. I'd say so.
And talking about Martins, if I could have any Martin, that'd be the Martin I want. A
What, the
D18,
D18?
Andy
Yeah.
Griffith, yeah.
And D18s, that's, I'm not surprised you say that because it's basically the same makeup as your guitar. It's the mahogany back and side, spruce top. I mean, and that's the sound that works
Mahogany neck.
best for you.
Yeah, I love my Hummingbird. Like the tool for the job, and I won't give a name, but here a while back, I was playing at church, and in the service, this guy comes and says, "Hey man, what kind of can I play your Hummingbird and stuff?" And he just takes one lick on. It. He's like, "Oh my goodness, this is just the most greatest thing I've ever put my hands on."
Yeah, it's a good playing guitar. I was happy to get to play it here the other day with a brand new set of my type of string on it and all that. I was
So what's your take? Now you seriously like take brand out of it, just sit down and give it a play.
it plays and sounds really good, man. And that's, I've don't never been huge on like mahogany back and sides guitars. I've never had a real good one though. That one impressed me, man. I really liked it.
And
and
you
it
were,
was easier. It was easier for finger picking than I thought it would be.
yeah. Oh, it's like butter. The action on the guitar.
Yeah, yeah,
It's my
it
favorite.
is. Well, I just thought maybe the nut width. What's the nut width? Do you know what that is on that one?
No, I think it's the typical. I don't know. I mean, it's however the Hummingbird nut with
See,
is.
I'm used to like inch and three quarters and wider, and so
That
I steer away from like narrower nut widths. But sometimes I'll pick up a guitar and I don't even ask what the nut width is and just play it, and I like it, and then I find out later,
did
well,
you like the
daggone, that was
nut? Did you
pretty.
like the nut width on that guitar?
I mean, it didn't hamper me at all. You know what I mean? There was nothing about it that felt crunch to me. So it must be close to an inch and three quarter at least. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd be curious to know, but nut width makes a big difference too for different styles of music. Like a lot of your finger style and your like Travis Pickens style people, they'll play a guitar that's got a little bit wider nut width than the guy that strums out
Let's
country
talk about a
ballads.
classical nut width.
Oh yeah, they're like 2 inches. I mean,
Yes.
that's crazy, man. I would like to play a really good classical guitar for a few minutes. Just
Speaking of nuts, I gotta make a nut here in a little bit.
make a bone
Yeah.
for an acoustic.
Yep. Speaking of nuts, we're talking about nuts this morning on the Fred Job.
But how long does it take you to take just a bone blank and make a custom nut?
It depends. Sometimes it can be really easy. Sometimes it can be. It just all depends on how cooperate. Some days it cooperates great with me. Some days
Yeah.
it's like not so
And
much.
bones, man, it's an organic material, so it's like it's not the same every day, every spot, and every day. It changes.
No,
You
but
get into some of it that's
and
harder.
today I'm making a 6 string bass nut.
Oh wow! So it's going to have wider gaps in it. And
Yeah.
gotcha. It smells good when you grind on that bone, don't it? It's nasty, man. It's the same way with like deer antler, man. Whew. You ever thought about using some of that? You know, Jerry Rosa, I know he
Yep.
uses a lot of, I could probably get you tons of tiny pieces of that.
Yeah. Get me. I'll use it all day long.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great because I could
You
use it.
definitely got a fan. I don't know if he's watching right now. A friend that uses that stuff and like making knives and stuff like
Oh,
that.
Richard.
Richard, yeah, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, man, that's I see people make them like out of ivory and
I've seen
all
them make
kinds
them
of
out
stuff.
of walrus.
Yeah, exactly. Usik is what that's called.
I watched a guy on YouTube make it out of band material. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
He made
yeah,
it on YouTube out of band material. He's gonna get in trouble for that.
yeah, yeah. You got to be careful with that stuff, man. If
What's the big thing? It's banned. You can't use.
elephant
Yeah,
ivory
yeah.
it has to be properly documented to be legal, man. It has to be. I think it's like pre 1970 uh, documentation, but yeah, you're better off just to steer clear
The elephant ivory. This
of
guy was
of
using. Yeah.
if you don't know what it is and you don't know that it's illegal material to make stuff like that out of, you probably just want to steer clear of it because a lot of that stuff's got restrictions on it. But yeah, anyway,
So this guy was using elephant ivory the other day on YouTube and
yeah,
stuff,
I'm not surprised that people try to do that, but you know,
and and stuff, and I'm just
there's a
like,
reason that stuff's banned.
yeah, and he's gonna get in trouble for
Yeah.
publicly documenting it.
Um, but there's different tools for the job, man. Just like those different nut materials we were talking about there, they're different people like them for different reasons because some of them have a brighter tone that
And here's something I'm gonna
suit their
ask, and
style.
this is coming from Opinionations, and I haven't asked any other luthier about this. I've never seen it, but I watched a guy make a nut out of wood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got like dulcimers that have wood nut, a
Oh
couple.
yeah, but have you ever seen it on a guitar?
I'm not sure. I think I've seen it on a ukulele
They
before.
had a flame maple wooden nut on a Martin, a
Yeah. I
D18.
mean, Maple's a super hard wood, man. I don't think it'll last as long as the bone wood or the
No.
ivory, but maple is a hard wood.
And
Yeah, I don't see it as
here's a
ideal for a
little
nut
public
on an
service
acoustic.
announcement. Martin, if you're watching, please stop using plastic in your Mexican-made Martin guitars. Because all they do is last about a couple weeks, and then the plastic is so cheap that when they play guitar, it rubs the strings out of the first fret, and
Yeah,
then you have to go in and put a new nut in, and it's just
yeah.
like, yeah, too
But
much hassle.
I wouldn't want them to do that because then that keeps you in business.
Well, it seems like every Martin guitar I've had in the past couple weeks, or that have been Mexican made, have all had the same problem.
Well, that
They
tells me just make sure when you buy one, you look in the sound hole and it says Nazareth, Pennsylvania on it.
Yeah, I've had more issues out of the Mexican made Martins here lately than I have anything else.
Yeah,
And I've had electronic issues, and they've all been about the same issues for each one. Like I can pinpoint them and say, hey, this is identical to the last one with
yeah,
the same issues. And
yeah.
that's just something that you guys could work on and try to clean up.
You done crap talking my brand now?
Now,
I'm just kidding,
Epiphones have the same problem. So,
yeah, man. There's,
they're all.
I mean, when you get into, $400 and under guitars, there's going to be little things that, I mean, some of them can be really good guitars, but some of them need some tweaks, man. You can go buy a guitar like that everything's great about it, but it's got a cheap nut and saddle. You go to somebody like Brandon and get one made, and
What's the
you've
best
got
guitar you
a
played for under $400? And you're like, wow.
under $400. I can't go that low, man. I mean, I don't, I just don't pick them up off the wall and play them usually. Like I've played one of those Guild uh,
Yeah.
240 P240 Memoir, I think it is. It's like a parlor 12 fret that Guild makes. That's like, I think they're more like 499 or something like that. And I like that little guitar. If you had one set up, I think it'd be a nice little piece. Um, I'd like to try out some Recording King guitars. I read good things about them, man, and they're reasonable.
Okay.
Have you ever played any of those?
I have.
Yeah.
I've set a few up. Okay. What's an expensive guitar you picked up off the shelf that's like USA made and you were very disappointed?
Oh, I hate to even say it because I really love the brand. Don't take this as a knock against the brand because most of what I've played from them is awesome. But I was at a store in Lexington several years ago, and I picked up a Brazilian rosewood Larrivee. It was a dreadnought. I was, I mean, we were disappointed. It wasn't just me. Richard was there too.
Okay. I'll answer
And
this question after you're
it
done.
was a disappointment, man. And
So,
then I've picked up a hummingbird one time that was a disappointment, but I played one later on that blew my mind. And these were not the pros. These were just like one of them was an older one, but I played a reissue
and
that I
two
loved.
strings make a big difference too
Yeah,
on
that's
this.
what if I could give all music stores a piece of advice from a consumer standpoint, it would be, man, I know it's expensive to do it, but when strings get dead and nasty, throw a set of strings or put a coated string, put a good string on there that'll last a long time on the stuff that's on the wall because it drives me nuts to go in there and pick up an
Here's something
expensive
I'll tell
guitar
you.
with dead
I
strings.
went into a music store and I picked up a $3,000 Taylor, like a custom Taylor, three thousand
Yeah.
dollars.
Didn't impress you.
Uh, it looked pretty, but it sounded god awful. I
Now
mean,
I
it,
have
it
I have picked up a $3,000 Taylor that I had been wanting to try that almost became a dream guitar for me. I still want one of them, and it was a 712E Lutz spruce and Indian rosewood back and sides
this
console.
guitar was $3,500. It was
Yeah,
a custom Taylor, and it
best
was
one was three.
and this was not sound. It had new strings on it too, and I mean it was set up, but it sounded god awful. Like the intonation was off.
Yeah, yeah, it happens,
Yeah, I
man.
was
I mean, it
like, "Are you
happens to
kidding
the
me?"
best of the companies too. I mean, I've almost picked up a guitar from every major brand
I'll tell you
that I was
one.
disappointed
I'll tell
in.
you one that I picked up that I was really impressed with. Uh, uh, And this goes back not just because I sell them in my store, but when I picked up Lack for the first time,
Yeah.
I mean, I was really thoroughly impressed. It would impress me enough to make me want to get a store full of Lacks.
But certain ones of them do shine, even in that brand. I mean, there's some guitars are just special, man. I mean, you could lay out four of my Martin. I have an OMC 16E maple. You could lay out four of those guitars, all maple, all the same guitar, and I promise you, there will be one or two of them that are leaps and bounds above the others to you. I mean, it's just how it goes.
Thank you, Mr. Alvin Keith
Yeah.
Taylor, for liking the stream. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that take into account. I'll tell you something here. I'll tell you this. This is no joke. I had a guy. What was it? He drove. He drove. He drove to play a D45. Buy one. He drove
Yeah.
like 3.5 hours to this D45 to go play it and to buy it. He said he got there. He gave it 2 licks on it. Guy said he had brand new elixirs on it. He said it sounded sounded god awful. He said it
Yeah.
just, and I mean, this guy here is probably as big as a Martin freak as you are.
Yeah.
I mean, probably
Yeah.
bigger Martin freak.
I mean, it's I'm not a fan of every single Martin.
Yeah.
And I've like I said, I've picked up guitars from all major brands that impressed me, and I've picked up guitars from all major brands that let me down.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's 100%. I've not played like Collings. I picked up one of their guitars down there at Grun Guitars in on Nashville, and man, I mean, it was probably one of the best playing acoustics I've ever played. I picked up a McPherson while I was down there. And it was like a $12,000 guitar, man. I just grabbed it off the wall and started playing it. I was blown away by these guitars, man. They were both awesome. But the Collings was like $7,000, $6,000 or $7,000, and the McPherson was $12,000. They were made out of the same materials. One of them had a little different sound hole design. I'm sure you've seen the McPhersons.
yes, those are nice.
They are nice, but I couldn't tell. I could not distinguish in quality anything between those two guitars. Yet there was thousands of dollars in difference in the price of
Hey,
them.
April. But yeah,
Uh, But I will say Collins impressed me, and so did McPherson. But man, they're just both in a league of price that's it's hard for a person to afford that stuff.
I'm like Rick, and I think me and Rick have the same idea here lately. I've been wanting the J200.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've always loved those, man. And I'm usually a small guitar guy, but in big guitars, it's the king.
I
I
mean, it's the
like
king
them.
of acoustic guitars. I mean, that's
They
just
have
it.
this weird open like sound to them that I don't know. I just like them. I want one in rosewood.
Yes, I want one in a burst.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to have sunburst. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, those are nice. So,
yeah.
um,
And I like the skeletonized bridge. I've saw them a Gibson that had the bridge kind of like the Epiphones have. That's not skeletonized. I like the one that's open in the middle.
those are nice.
Yeah,
You want the ones that are open in the middle?
the bridge that's just the
Yeah.
skeleton of
Well,
rosewood.
that's what it is. They all are. Only
Well, I've
reason,
saw some vintage ones that were actual Gibsons that had the pearl stuff, kind of like the Epiphones
oh
have.
yeah.
Some of the vintage ones,
I'll tell you.
but
I'll tell you one that I mean, there's several dream guitars on my list that I'm gonna get, and another one is a Harley Davidson J200.
yeah,
Those things are
I'd
nice.
like to have an Martin HD 28V, the vintage. Um, that's not a vintage guitar, but it's got the vintage appointments. And I'd like to have an O 28 VS, which is a little tiny parlor in that matches it.
What about a triple O? What's your thoughts on those?
I would love to have a triple O 12 fret slotted headstock. Like Larrabee makes a triple O. It's a rosewood 12 fret. It's not open headstock though. I want an open in a triple O. To me, a triple O. It's like my Martin is an OM. An OM is the same exact body shape as a triple O, but to me, for something to be a real true triple O that I would like, it would need to have 12 frets to the body, neck joint, and it would have to have an open headstock. And
What do
Martin
you,
made that guitar. It's
what do you
classic.
think about an arch back acoustic guitar? I played one of those here recently, a Guild, that had an arch back to it. Like,
I have played one. I had a stepfather
He's
that had one, and it was oh man, what's the company? They've made a comeback. They're from West. They were West Germany back in the day. Oh man, Richard could probably tell me.
he's here in the chat.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was it had an arched back, man. It was almost like molded looking, but
Yes,
it came out in the back. And I'm thinking some of those like GS Minis have an arched back. The little Taylors, small ones, I think they have an arched back. Man, why can't I think of that
oh,
brand, man?
I know the Lags. They have an archback.
Come on, Rick. What was that? What was that big crazy Fromus? It was the Fromus.
There you go.
It had an arched back. Yeah, it was old school, man. It
Um,
had a screw-on bridge, like the bridge bolted on. I saw Jerry Rosa work on one time.
I mean that's what whatchamacallit has. Taylor has a screw on. Oh, not so. Didn't
I'm
Taylor
talking
make
about
it?
the bridge.
Didn't Taylor do that with the bridge once?
I don't know. They have a bolt-on neck. I
Yeah, I
know
mean I
that.
worked on plenty of Taylors.
Yeah,
How are
yeah.
you, Mr. Poole?
Yeah, what's up? Rick says triple O. Yeah, I know he likes them. I know he likes them. I love a triple O, man. I wish that my Martin had been a triple O. I can't say that because I love my guitar, but I didn't know what I was going to like back then. I mean, I went out and bought that one for a first guitar, so I was just guessing. But I do like the OEM, but I wish I had a 12 fret neck joint Martin. I'm nuts about those guitars, in case you didn't know.
He's not. Yeah, he's nuts about a lot of things. No,
Yeah.
you talk about another
Rick
guitar.
says he's fine.
We would talk about this. Let's talk about another dream. I would like to have a good figured 335.
Oh yeah, Lucille. You familiar with the ES 137? It's
Yes.
like a 335, but it's got the sharp Florentine cutaway.
Yeah. So Rick,
Yeah.
he said he knows you're crazy. You just getting ganged up by
Yeah.
both of us this morning. Nah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I want. What I'd like to. I'd like to have a 175.
Yeah. 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 I like those. Man, when you pick them up, they feel so light. Those hollow bodies do.
Also, I worked on another one, and I know this is a really big guitar, but a super 300 or a super 400.
Super 400. Yeah.
Those
Oh
things are
man.
nice.
Yeah.
Or a Birdland.
Like an L5. I like.
L5. Oh, L5. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Or a
Yeah.
Birdland. I want a
Yeah.
Birdland. Man, L5's another dream. Those things are just.
So, what kind of music would you play? What do you think that what kind of music you think that brings out in people? Like an L5 style guitar?
Blues.
Blues to you? Yeah.
Jazz, blues,
jazz
yeah.
players like those too. Yeah.
I mean, they're
It
just.
wouldn't be your bluegrass guitar. But I'll tell you what, now I don't know how true to the truth the movie is, but in that movie about Johnny Cash, it had him starting out with like an arch top guitar.
Like, I'll tell you something here a while back, and you'll think this is crazy. I went and seen a bluegrass band, and the acoustic guitar guy, he was playing on a J200.
Yeah. That's probably a rare thing there.
He was playing on a J200. The banjo player had a Mastertone Gibson, and then
Yeah.
the mandolin player
Usually
had a
it's
Gibson
pretty much
F5
it's usually across the board in bluegrass, man. The guy that's playing rhythm guitar in a bluegrass band is usually almost always playing a Dreadnought Martin copy or a Martin. They're playing
I've
like a Blue
also
Ridge.
yeah, I seen a guy here a while back. Also, he was playing a dub on stage for
Yeah.
bluegrass.
Yeah,
He
I saw that. Richard says Super 400 is the sky for Gibsons. He said, I know a man who has one. Yep, I've heard that story. But yeah, that Super 400 they're wicked, man. I saw some of the coolest guitars down there in Nashville going through that Country Music Hall of Fame, man.
What was your favorite?
Probably one of the cool ones is the classical guitar that I saw that belonged to Chet Atkins. It was kind of a
Okay.
oddball guitar.
Would you want a country gentleman?
Oh, I'd love to have one. Yeah.
Okay, but I wouldn't want a Gretsch Country Gentleman.
I would take either one.
I want the one when Gibson made them because Gibson made them first.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I want
But
one of the
there's
Gibsons.
value to both.
I'll tell you a weird guitar I had. I had the SST, the Chet Atkins SST.
Yeah.
I had that Epiphone Chet Atkins SST. I would like a Gibson SST. You know what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about?
Mhm.
Okay, those were sweeter than
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, they were, man. I like Chet Atkins, man. I like his style of playing.
Let's
Like
talk
one
about
some of the
Jimmy Page.
some of my favorite
Yeah,
stuff. Last note on Chet Atkins. Some of my favorite stuff I've ever heard people cover is I heard Mark Eubank cover Mr. Sandman when he was just trying my Martin out one day at his shop. Man, he played it like the Chet Atkins style. Man,
okay. Here's
I
something.
love that
Let's talk
stuff.
about Jimmy Page.
Jimmy
Or
Page, totally different world, but
yeah. I mean, we're talking about artists.
so what's Jimmy Page's tools for the job?
A Les Paul.
Okay, why? What makes that Les Paul so? It's pretty versatile
Yeah,
because
it's
people
got that
play it in
butter.
blues, people play it in rock. It's used in a lot of different stuff. What kind of pickups? Tell me like the difference in like a Les Paul style pickup and like a Strat, like a Fender single coil pickup. What?
I mean, it's the humbucker and single. They're different jobs. Humbucker's more beefier. It's got double the coils.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean that's kind of one of those things. Like I'll bring up another. Here's my all-time hero, Sal Slash. I mean I
Oh
love
yeah.
Slash. He's my hero, man. He could take about anything and just play. I mean
Oh yeah.
he's my
He's one of my favorites.
absolute hero. And
He's more of my time period
I'll tell
too.
you another one of my heroes, Richard Poole.
There you go.
I mean, he just plays some of the most beautiful stuff, and he's another one of my heroes.
There you go. That's high praise, man. And mine too. I've learned a lot of stuff from Rick on guitar, man. I try to absorb everything I can from everybody that's around me that plays music, man. I've learned from so many different people, man. And I'll just be honest with you. I've said this before. Most of my inspiration has not come from famous people. Most of my inspiration in music has come from the people that are directly around me. People like Richard and my brother-in-law Justin and uh, Robbie, a friend of mine. Robbie, he was one of my early people that I jammed with. Just my stepbrother had friends that were in bands when I was younger, and I got to go to some of those, and then I ended up working with some of the people that were in those bands that I saw as a kid. I ended up working with these guys at Donley, and that was cool, man. That was part of the early influences in me wanting to play music. Guy named Scott Bandura, he works at Donley. He's a great guitar player, man, and he had a band that I got to go see as a kid, and then I worked with him, and we talked guitar all the time. Every time we hung out, we talked about guitars, and that's part of the reason I'm so into it.
Yeah, I mean, here lately I've had a lot of great heroes and inspirations,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just pretty great. Richard, but you have progressed better than anyone I inspired.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Man, I've been playing with him for a long time. Here lately we've been playing a bunch, man. And I tell you what, you're never too old to get better either because he's gotten a lot better in the last few years too, especially in the last year, man. At his age, man, he still gets better all the time. You never get to a point where you can't get better as long as you keep playing and keep your hands
I'm taking I'm taking
working.
a once a week guitar lesson now.
Yeah, you're never too old to do that either, man.
So
I
I'm
mean,
taking once a week guitar lesson with Jaden.
yeah. Man, he's a great guitar player. I mean, if he's as
His
good of a
theory,
teacher as he is a guitar player,
oh,
you'll learn something.
his music theory is incredible. He knows it all. He can listen to a song and hit back. Oh, it's in B diminished minor pentatonic scale,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Yeah,
whoa, dude.
I can tell he's well versed in music and guitar.
Jim Mulaney said it's been
What's
said
up,
that Jimmy.
Justin? I see you're on here, man. Good
It's been said
morning.
that Jimmy Page's Telecaster sold more Les Pauls than any other guitar. Oh, Jim. Hey, Justin.
Yeah, glad to have some people. Glad to have some people on here this morning, actually live with us.
He
You know, a
said
lot of
Justin's on here. Who's an artist that's influenced you in the guitar they used? We'll ask that question to everybody. That's in the comment section.
man. I'll never own. Yeah, ask them too. Yeah, give us some answers, guys. I'll tell you another one, but I'll never own one of the guitars that he has because they're so expensive. But James Taylor, man, he's an inspiration to me. I mean, he plays a lot of owns and plays a lot of different guitars, but Olson is a guitar that he plays a lot, and they're just
Who
almost
plays it?
James Taylor
Oh
plays
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Olson, and they're just kind of like a super custom, you know, unobtainium unless you've really ready to spend some money on a guitar. But I love James Taylor's style, man. I mean, I love it. Cat Stevens, I love his style, but he usually plays like a big jumbo, J200. Cat Stevens plays one of those a lot, man.
I'll tell you one I really, really kind of got into a little bit. Neil Giraldo.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not real familiar with him.
He's married to Pat Benatar, and he
Okay,
plays for Pat Benatar.
okay.
You know who Pat Benatar is,
Justin
don't you?
Hamilton says Chris Cornell with a Gretsch rules my world. Chris Cornell, man, I know Jay's a huge fan of him. He was awesome, man. Jay's listened to a bunch of his stuff. He says, "Nice info, brother. Hey, guy. Thanks, man."
Oh, I mean, Chris Cornell is just absolutely in a whole other world to himself.
Yeah, yeah.
I've heard a little bit of it.
It's sad that he's gone, man. But
Jim,
he was a force
yeah.
to be reckoned with, man.
Jim Mulaney says I have to go with Chet Atkins. The first time I heard an LP of Chet, I was hooked on guitar.
Well, I'll have to agree with you, Jim. And there's a lot. I swear, man. There's a lot of guys around here. I'm talking the oldest generation of guitarists around here. There's a lot of those guys that were heavily influenced by Chet, man. He's got a lot of fans in Kentucky, in our elder aged guitar players around here, the guys that were super good and still are. Uh, a lot of them, you'll see them playing 335s and guitars like that, because they've emulated that kind of music their whole life. And then it crosses over into like gospel music. There's a lot of really great gospel guitarists in this state, man, and a lot of those guys are heavily influenced by Chet Atkins' style. So you get to go to these, uh, hear these gospel songs played in that style a lot around here, and I love that, man. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Here's something that I find. Here's a good heavily influenced artist that Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's what I
Oh,
couldn't think. I've been on a strat kick here a little bit, so
yeah. Well, that listening to him will get you on a strat kick if you're a
you
guitar
guys are
lover.
like, oh my goodness, Frizzell. He's got a strat. He went out and bought a strat. He's playing Fender and Fender strat. Yeah, I've been on a Fender kick here lately.
Well,
I'm not
that
gonna
goes
lie.
to our topic, man. The tool for the job. If you want to play that Stevie Ray Vaughan style of music, you need the tools for that job, and a Strat is the tool for that job.
Yes, definitely for sure.
I mean, that sound, man, that Stevie had, it's like a bell like tone that Strats have that I just love, man. And that's the tool for the job, man. Richard said, let's go pour some concrete, y'all.
You go pour some concrete, and I'll be thinking about you.
I'll be feeling for you, man. Good luck with it. It's cold out there today. Stay warm. Jay says, Justin says, SRV. Man, yeah, I love him, man. Justin knows one of my early influences in guitar was Jay had a video that was Austin City Limits Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it had two different shows that he did there, and man, that video was a really inspirational to me. Um, it's funny how stuff does that, man. Yeah, I'm glad you had that video, Justin. Well, man, I've had a good morning.
Yes.
Don't you all forget Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Go out to Frizzell Guitars. Get your picture with Santa. That's $15 for professional photos.
Did I
Uh,
hear that you, Jay, and Rick are all coming to take photos in Santa's laps?
I don't know if I'll get to get my picture taken with Santa, but you all definitely go out and do that. And Saturday, it's Small Business Saturday. Don't just do it on Saturday. Do it on Friday and Saturday. Go out and support your small businesses in your community. Uh,
Um,
do your Christmas shopping in places
did
like
you read
Frizzell
Jim's
Guitar.
comment?
Jim, oh
He's
yeah, I grew up in Detroit area, so I was influenced by the Motown sound. Bob Seger, Ted Nugent, Grand Funk Railroad. Man, that that group of people and that type of music has influenced so many people, and it's funny, man, because it's influenced people in rock, it's influenced people in R&B. uh they definitely are a multi-genre influence. That group of people right there
yes,
is.
Justin. Santa Claus is real.
Yeah, Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, y'all go out. Thanks for coming on today. Uh, we're gonna get on it on with the day, and we will see you all next time. Be sure to check
Oh,
us
and
out.
have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you before Christmas. So see you next time.
Uh, Santa Claus. He may bring you that dream guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know. Santa Claus has ate too many ho hos and ding dong this year, so he's not moving like he used to. See y'all. Have a good day.
See ya.